So HP made an ad called Work Happy. Apparently, the topic of workplace happiness is now so accepted that global corporations feel comfortable enough with it to put it in their marketing campaigns. That should be a good thing, right? Well, it would be a great thing if the ad actually promoted happy work. But instead, I think it mostly celebrates the always on work culture that has made workers more and more stressed and unhappy for the last 30 years. Let's watch it so you can judge for yourself.
So, you want to be successful, huh? Well, let's go over the ground rules. You'll need to come in early, work through lunch,
Yeah, that's a really good one.
burn the midnight oil. That's not what I meant. And keep your eyes on the market. Different market. Master the cold call.
That sounds perfect.
You can't be serious. And 2 words. Firm handshake. Firmer. Ensure you get plenty of face time with the boss. And dare I say, brown nose from time to time. This dog gets it. So come on, defy the pecking order.
Here, try one.
Sell your own grandmother. This is not an office.
Is anyone listening?
Bend over backwards. Give in to the daily grind. What's happening? And always, always dress for the job you want. I give up.
At first glance, the ad seems fine, right? Kind of funny in places. It's certainly very slick. On the surface, the ad makes fun of your typical older white-haired male CEO in a suit and his dumb advice for success like burn the midnight oil, bend over backwards, or master the cold call. And it does this by showing people working in different settings. The person burning the midnight oil is sitting at a bonfire in the wilderness. The person mastering the cold call is doing a video meeting in a chairlift at a ski resort. The payoff for the ad is the rules have changed and work happy. But is that really what the ad promotes? Let's take a closer look. The ad has 14 scenes in total. Here they are. A quick count shows that 8 of the 14 scenes, that's over half of them, show people interrupting some form of free time activity to do work. On the other hand, only 2 of the scenes feature people interrupting work in favor of free time. There's the scene where a lady does yoga in the office, and the scene where a man makes faces at his daughter. Each of those, by the way, seem to be very brief interruptions from work. The last 4 scenes feature people doing free time activities while not working. So, most of the ad is about people taking work with them into free time activities. This implicitly promotes a lifestyle where you are never away from work. Even when you're hiking in the mountains, you have your devices with you so you can work. Workplaces have been pushing that attitude for 30 years with email, mobile phones, and connected devices, and the result has been the opposite of happiness. What we got instead is the always-on hustle culture, where work is a constant presence in your life. A world where people check emails at home in the evening, work on weekends, do video meetings from their vacations, and can't even take an uninterrupted day off to ski or surf without feeling pressured to still be reachable. Also, since HP is a US company, I have to mention that this attitude exists all over the world, but is especially bad in America. In American work culture, constant availability and long work hours are a good thing. They're signs of commitment and grit. Any attempt to improve your work-life balance can be seen as disloyalty to the company or personal weakness. I once talked to a US worker who said that their boss often emailed them late in the evening. If the email didn't get a response in 20 minutes, he'd send a text message to prod them. If that didn't get a response within 5 minutes, he'd call them to say, "Hey, why aren't you responding? What are you doing?" Have you ever been pressured in a similar way to always be available for work? How did that affect you? Write a comment. I'd really like to hear your experience. Now, when HP's Chief Marketing Officer Vikrant Bakra shared the ad on LinkedIn, he wrote that we don't need work-life balance, we need work-life freedom. And that is just factually wrong. We do need work-life balance. Studies show very clearly that work-life imbalance is tremendously bad for us and leads to higher risk of stress, heart disease, strokes, and cancer, just to mention a few. But HP is like, work-life balance? You don't need that. No. You need freedom. But wait, isn't freedom always good? Won't freedom lead to better work-life balance? No, not always. Giving employees connected devices that allow them to work from anywhere is only a good thing when it's done in a healthy workplace culture that actively promotes work-life balance and where employees' rights to free time are respected and protected. When these devices are deployed without those kinds of protections, it means that employees will never have any time that is completely disconnected from work. And work anywhere or anytime quickly becomes work everywhere and all the time. HP's ad plays right into this. The freedom it shows is heavily skewed towards the freedom to take work with you everywhere you go. The freedom to take uninterrupted free time or to interrupt work to do something else is vastly underrepresented. Now, I obviously have no way of knowing if the people in the ad are working in their free time completely of their own free will and otherwise have great work-life balance. I mean, they're only shown for a few seconds each and we don't know their situation. They sure look happy, but everyone looks happy in an ad. But what we do know from a ton of research is that when work constantly invades people's free time, it increases their risk of stress and burnout. We know that uninterrupted free time is essential for workers to decompress and relax. And we also know from studies that people experience a lot of pressure to always be available for work because their career and their livelihood may be on the line. The next time you see a parent checking emails by the beach instead of playing with their kids, ask yourself if it's most likely that this person truly, deep down, wants to do this of their own free will, or if maybe there's a slight chance that they've been pressured to do it by their workplace's culture, by a performance-driven manager, or by the notion implicit in our neoliberal society that work must always come first and any non-productive time is wasted. Specifically, the guy on the chairlift, he's the one that bugs me the most. What the hell is so urgent that he has to take that meeting that very minute instead of just enjoying his skiing and then take the meeting when he gets back the next day or the next week, or at least when he gets inside where it's warm? Wouldn't you enjoy a ski day more if you could focus on the mountain and the fresh powder instead of having to do meetings in the middle of the day or be available for calls? I want to make this very clear. Freedom and flexibility cannot serve as substitutes for work-life balance. I think the last 30 years have shown very, very clear that more freedom and flexibility in itself leads to less work-life balance and happiness for employees. So if freedom and flexibility isn't the solution, what is? Here are 6 things we could do instead. We could pass laws that protect employees' rights to be offline, like they have in France and other countries. We could make sure to match production goals with employee resources so that everyone doesn't have to work all the time. We could organize work effectively so that no one person is indispensable and can never take time off. We could encourage our employees to take real uninterrupted time off and not penalize them in any way when they do. We could manage the expectations of clients so that they don't demand instant responses to their questions 24/7. And finally, if your job requires you to be available outside of normal business hours, it should be under clearly stated conditions and you should be compensated for it. Obviously, none of that looks super slick in an ad or helps HP sell more connected devices. Now, I'm not saying that HP is deliberately promoting an always available for work lifestyle. The ad never comes right out and says you should live your life in such a way that you can always interrupt your free time to do some work. Instead, it just shows people doing exactly that in a way that looks super slick. And that is almost more insidious because it's hard to argue against a viewpoint that is only implied and never stated directly. And yes, you can say I'm taking this too seriously. Come on, Alex, it's just a fun ad. And you know what? I'm completely open to that idea. I am known for caring just a little too much about these kinds of things. I don't even know if they're running the ad anywhere on TV or whatever, and it currently only has 60,000 views on YouTube. But even if this message is unintentional on the part of HP, the ad is still part of a pattern of indoctrination that I think needs to be challenged. The ad's first tagline is "The rules have changed," but apparently they have not changed enough to let people ever take time off without being chained to the workplace. So I have a challenge for HP. Why don't you make a new ad? Make a new ad that shows people going out for free time activities or vacation and leaving their fancy connected work devices at home, just to show that even though you can work from anywhere, you also have the freedom not to. That ad could be a really cool defining moment, like when Patagonia took out a full-page ad on Black Friday that said, "Don't buy this jacket," to warn against overconsumption, and instead urging their customers to reuse or repair an old jacket. I even have the perfect tagline for the ad for HP. "With our devices, you can work from anywhere, but you shouldn't. And if your workplace tries to make you, quit and work somewhere else." Yeah, that one might need a little workshopping. I guess that's why I don't work in advertising. Write me a comment with a better tagline if you have one, and stay happy.